This is my interview with Mr. Barclay, talking about the Fulton community. And what would you say that is in the Fulton Oswego community that keeps you here?
Well, as you know, I don't live in Fulton, but I live in the county of Oswego. I live in Pulaski. For me, I was the 8th generation of my family to live in Pulaski. So, first of all, it's kind of a hard streak. Who wants to be the one to break that streak? So, I was kind of obligated to stay there, but actually, I love it. I have 2 boys. They're the 9th generation to live there. But it's good, country living, which I always loved. I grew up there. It's nice to have space in between the houses and farmland and places to fish and hunt. That's the stuff I enjoy, and my boys enjoy it. And so that's what really attracts us and keeps us in Pulaski. But I think of all of Oswego County, and certainly Fulton falls into it. I think it's a great locality because, one, you got easy proximity to Syracuse or all of central New York or New York State for a whole. We have beautiful natural resources here in Oswego County with Lake Ontario, the Oswego River, of course, where I live, the Salmon River. Not far away, you can snowmobile, you can ATV, you can hike, hunt and fish, I said. So I just think for what you have and the accessibility, if you want to go to the city, if you want to have great food or arts, entertainment, whatever, we have that all in Syracuse, and to some extent even here in Fulton and Oswego. At the same time, you have access to the comfortable rural living.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So what would your favorite thing about Fulton be then?
Well, Fulton, I think one thing great about Fulton is really the accessibility to Syracuse and Oswego. I mean, in a lot of ways, you really are a bedroom community for Syracuse, but you also can get up to Oswego and Lake Ontario very easily. So I think the geographic location is terrific for Oswego, but I mean for Fulton. But I don't live here, but one thing that would attract me to live in Fulton, I think the size of Fulton is very attractive. It's not so big where it's tough to get around. It's still kind of relatively a rural type area, but at the same time, it's big enough where you have stores. You don't have to travel, 2 hours to get to a store, or, you have Walmart, you have, large box stores that you can easily accessible, grocery stores, you're not buying out of a one-room grocery store. So I think the size of Fulton is pretty attractive too.
Okay, great.
If I lived here, even though I don't, but I work here and I enjoy working here.
Yeah. So why would you have your office here then?
That's an interesting question. First of all, I inherited this office, so I didn't although I could move my office if I wanted to, but I found that this is a very good location. When I first got elected, my district ran down to Skaneateles and then up to where I live, Pulaski. I was the northern part, so this office made a lot of sense because it was pretty centrally located. Since that time, my district's changed, and now I represent mostly Oswego County, a little Jefferson, a little of Onondaga County with the town of Lysander. So it's still relatively centrally located, but also it's in the county building, so sometimes people have business to do at the DMV downstairs, or they have to visit the Department of Labor or have some other county issues. Emergency management's here. I think it's convenient for people to come and easily to visit me here, and it's obviously easily accessible with parking and everything else, and being right off of 41 makes it pretty simple to get here. So for all the reasons initially I inherited it, I think those still hold true, and I've been here a long time now, so it seems to be working. One change if it's working.
Well, that's good. So what is the most significant thing that has happened to you that has impacted this community?
Well, it's happened to me, or that I've been able to affect that has helped the community.
Either one.
Either one. Well, I think actually this year was a big year for us because, as you know, the Fitzpatrick plant was looking to shut down, and that would have been, I think, catastrophic for the economy in all of Oswego counties, Fulton, and central New York as a whole. So I think the idea that we were able to save that, and it wasn't just me, it was a team effort, and had great leadership from the governor to be able to institute the clean energy standard, which would include nuclear energy, which essentially allows Exelon to buy the Fitzpatrick plant from Entergy. I think it's probably been, if not the biggest win of my political career, quite close to it. And it's nice that you asked me the question because it's relatively recent this year.
So that's good.
Yeah, it's big.
Very good. So what would you say would you hope for the children of Fulton? What would you hope that they...
I guess one of the reasons I got involved in politics in the first place was because my kids are recently born when I entered into politics, and I had a good growing up in Oswego County. I enjoyed it, and I just want to see if I could help make sure there are opportunities out there that if they choose to do so, that they could stay and live in Pulaski or Oswego County or wherever. But if there aren't the opportunities there economically, it's going to be harder and harder for them to decide to do that. So I think what we all have to do is just try to improve the business climate in Oswego and Central New York, and New York as a whole, frankly. So there are opportunities that for young people that want to stay in the area can stay in the area. The only thing I would also suggest, I was fortunate, I was able to travel quite a bit when I was younger, and I even lived in other areas of the state, and I never lived out of state, but I know people that did, and was able to travel those other places. Sometimes the grass, it's not, I think, unusual for, as you're growing up, you'll see other places and the grass looks greener on the other side, but as you get older, you might realize, that's not all that it's cracked up to be, and sometimes coming home and being home is as nice as anywhere else. So I don't really discourage anybody from saying moving away, but I would say keep an open mind about Central New York and Oswego County, because I think we really do have wonderful assets, and it's a terrific place to raise a family and to grow up. And as you get older and you raise your own kids, it gets clearer and clearer, as I think you may be in other places, like say New York City or the suburbs there. And there's a lot of benefits from being down there, but I think that, in my mind, the benefits of living up here far outweigh the benefits of living down there.
Yeah, definitely. And do you have any good stories to pass on to those children?
Like funny stories or good stories?
Whatever you think.
Well, I don't know about, I'm trying to think of a kind of an anecdotal type thing I can tell you as far as a story. Just think here for a minute about trying to what would make it attractive sort of to live in this area. Well, it's not really a story. I guess it's going back to the original reasons why. Where else can you be? I think you have 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't like? I love the 4 seasons. I love having winter. It gets a little long, obviously, in March and April. But then you have the beautiful spring, and you feel great because the weather's warming up. I don't think you can beat the summers from a temperature standpoint. And then fall, as it going a little cooler, it's wonderful. So I think that type of diversity, and then just the diversity of activities you can do because of the 4 seasons and the geographic area that we live in, I think are wonderful. I'm not a great storyteller anyway, so I can't think of anything right off the top of my head where I would say, here's a story of why, that would encapsulate exactly why to stay in the area. But I've had 100 great stories of my kids, growing up and being able to do active sports and outdoor stuff with them that I wouldn't be able to do anywhere else in the country, frankly. So it's not much of a story, but that's a pitch for the area at least.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
No,
yeah.
Mason, my pleasure. Good
I really
luck to you.
appreciate it. Thank you.